Good afternoon. My name is Saad Jashim, and it is my immense pleasure and privilege to welcome you to the grand finale of Battle of Minds 2020. Battle of Minds has been a passion train for the last 17 years, and I have seen this platform evolve for the last 15 years. Starting in a very small competition with just 4 teams in 2004, every year we have relentlessly worked to improve Battle of Minds. Every year the team works to make sure that Battle of Minds is the best experience that the participants can get in Bangladesh. And that is an oath we take very seriously. When you have the best and brightest minds of the country working with you, you are inspired to push yourselves to make the best event possible for them. This year has been no different. This year, when we started the Battle of Minds journey, we knew that this was going to be a unique experience, and we pushed ourselves. We took the advantage of a completely virtual way of working. Like the entire world, we were able to move Battle of Minds to a completely virtual platform. And when we reimagined Battle of Minds, we reimagined how Battle of Minds can be done virtually entirely. And we started with the virtual roadshows. We created bespoke, immersive experiences where participants from various universities across the country were able to connect live. In those platforms, they were able to interact with themselves, understand the Battle of Minds journey, as well as hear and learn from industry leaders from within and across the countries. We were able to bring in a lot of people, industry experts and leaders from around the world who inspired the participants. We also created our first ever virtual Battle of Minds bootcamp, where we had 300 participants go through an immersive day-long experience where they discovered themselves, but very importantly, they also got to understand what it's like to work in a high-paced and a high-performing organization setup. We then brought our Battle of Minds participants through a rigorous selection process, and we chose our semi-finalists. And from those semi-finalists, we have selected the best of the best to come here today on the grandest stage of all to present to all of you their cases as the finalists of Battle of Minds 2020. And to grace this event, we are honored with the presence of the Honorable Minister, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Dr. A.K. Abdul Momen, MP, Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. While we come to you live with Battle of Minds virtually this year, what we aspire is that our participants always have a unique experience that no one else can provide them. And we believe that through the last few months of working on Battle of Minds and working with societally valuable cases and causes, they have not only learned what this country is, what are the future potentials of this country, what the communities and the societies are, but very importantly, they have been prepared and they have been groomed to take on to the next stage in their lives. As aspiring graduates, this platform is invaluable for them to step into the next stages of their life. To the participants of Battle of Minds 2020, I am immensely thankful to you for your participation. I know that this year has been very unusual, we've all been forced to reckon with a new normal, and you have done excellently at that. And to the finalists, I wish you the best of luck. Getting to this stage takes a lot of nerve, takes a lot of courage, and a lot of preparation. And when you come on stage today and present your cases to the judges, I wish you all the very best. Getting to this stage, you're all winners. And at the end of the day, out of you, we will select the champions of Battle of Minds 2020. With that, I wish you all the best. And to all our audience, thank you very much for joining in.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. and welcome once again to the grand finale of Battle of Minds 2020. My name is Saida Adiba Arif. I'm a global graduate in human resources working at British American Tobacco Bangladesh Company Limited.
And I am Baizid Haq Juarter, global graduate at Legal and External Affairs Department at British American Tobacco Bangladesh Company Limited. We've just seen what we have done this year so far. Now, it's time for us to delve into the final challenge of Battle of Minds 2020.
But before we see directly what the finalists have done this year to stand out from the crowd, let's hear a little bit about what this year's challenge was all about from our very own Adrita Datta, Senior HR Business Partner, Operations and Talent. Over to you, Adrita.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to connect you all virtually for the 17th edition of Battle of Minds. Now, in the true spirit of bracing new normal and turning limitations into opportunities, Battle of Minds 2020 has set out on a theme of reimagining tomorrow with innovation at its core. This year, we have marked many firsts in the legacy of Battle of Minds by completely reimagining the entire competition experience online with an even elevated and exciting learning opportunity for the participants. I am amazed to see the response and the sheer brilliance that the participants have brought in throughout the competition. We had 2,800 plus participants from 25 universities across the country in business, agriculture, and engineering discipline. Through 4 different rounds of rigorous competition and assessment, today we have with us 18 brightest minds who would compete in the grand finale. Some of them will later get an opportunity to represent Bangladesh on the global stage. Like every year, this year also, participants have worked on unique cases. This year actually, participants have worked on 2 cases. The first case is around reimagining education sector through skill building. And the second case is around reimagining the potential of our agriculture sector through commercialization of moringa crop. So students not only has crafted solutions, but also they have tried and tested their solutions through real life activations. I'm sure all of us are extremely excited to see the final output and plan. Now, before we proceed to the final presentation, to all the semi-finalists and finalists, thank you very much for your hard work, dedication, passion, and resilience throughout. To me, you all are already winners. In Battle of Minds, always remember you either win or you learn. So go for it, guys. All the best.
Thank you, Adrita Apu, for that. You've all heard about the case and you now know what the challenge was all about. Now it's time to see how the finalists have interpreted this case. And we assure you, they have gone above and beyond to try and give each other a run for the most prestigious trophy of their undergrad life.
Each of the teams will present for 12 minutes, followed by a Q&A session. Assessing the teams are our esteemed panel of judges, Mubin Asaf, Head of Legal and External Affairs, Ghulam Safwat Chaudhary, Head of Brands and SPI, and Saad Jashim, Head of Human Resources at British American Tobacco Bangladesh Company Limited. The first team who will be presenting is Team Anything Works. Team Anything Works found strength through their diverse backgrounds, overcame their adversities, and bonded over the passion for the competition. Let the game begin.
Good morning, everyone. We're Team Anything Works. We're going to start with a few stories of people we met.
আমার নাম মোহাম্মদ আলম মিয়া, আমি আটফুটায় কাজ করতাম। এই কাজ করার সময় হাত চলে যায় মেশিনের ভিতরে, তো আমার ছাড়াই করে দেয়। 5 মাসের স্যালারি দেয় না, 30 বছরের কাগজপত্র কোনো খবর নেই, কোনো হিসাবপত্র দেয় নাই আমাকে। এখন আমি কি করব?
আমার নাম মোহাম্মদ সোহেল মিয়া। আমি যখন সকালে ডিউটি যাওয়ার সময় আমার বাস অ্যাক্সিডেন্টে আমার হাত পঙ্গু হয়ে যায়, তখন আমার কেউ খোঁজ খবর নেয় নাই। কোম্পানি থেকে টাকা দেবে করে এখন পর্যন্ত দেয় না। এখন আমি কি করে খাবো? আমার হাত তো পঙ্গু।
These These are just two stories of staggering 9% of this country that is currently disabled. 60% of these people can move around and work on their own, but 65.2% are currently unemployed. Most of these people are physically disabled with speech and vision not too far behind. Within these, a great number of these people get injured every year. We've noticed that 11,000 fatal accidents at work happen that make people disabled, with little to no compensation from employers. What are the kinds of efforts that exist to make sure this is recuperated? Well, the PFDA Vocational Training Center does put in some effort, with support from foundations like the Prerana Foundation. But the problem is, once these people go back to work, they face a lot of structural barriers due to who they are from doing the work as good as normal people can. They also face a lot of social stigma from their co-workers, preventing a proper integration. What we want is for entire industries to prefer disabled individuals as the kinds of workers that they look for and design work around them. Where have we seen this happen? We've seen this happen in call centers in India as well as the United States. Why did disabled people succeed there? First, because this work requires very limited physical input for which they're very capable. Second, the work itself has a quick and simple training process that they can quickly learn. Third, they're generally more committed and dedicated, leading to lower attrition rates. What this means is, we want to do the same thing. We want to create simple and menial computer database jobs for people through call centers, data entry, and data annotation. Why are these kinds of employment sustainable? Let's look at industry trends. The call center industry is growing at a global CAGR of 5%, with immense potential in Bangladesh as well. If you look at the attrition rate as well, it is at a high rate of 25%, allowing penetration to be possible. If you look at data entry, 46% of the global growth is coming from the Asia-Pacific region, where Bangladesh, with its low cheap labor costs, is favorably placed. If you look at even case studies in Bangladesh, Unilever Laver Bazaar was a recent initiative where immense amount of money was put into by a corporate in order to get access to data from wet market grocers. That shows the drive towards digitization. What about data annotation? Well, simply put, it's basically putting in input as labels for various forms of machine learning. Work exists in text, visual, and audio, which means even if you have one kind of disability, there's work for other kinds of disabilities as well. The industry is growing globally in almost every sector, and it's, funnily enough, getting more manual because you want greater accuracy within the industry itself. The key insight from all of this is PWDs are best suited to these jobs because of their criteria. They're also growing in number for these jobs, considering the huge demand from local clients and foreign clients due to the fourth industrial revolution. Our solution is simple. We're going to train these PWDs and connect them to these industries.
Therefore, our big idea is Nobojibon, a social business with the tagline Boichitre Shakti. Our aim is to train these PWDs so that they may thrive in the data industry. The process will take 3 parts. The first part is Unnoyan or rejuvenate. We will target the victims of industrial accidents because they're the most eager to work and needs jobs the quickest. We will train them and move on to the second step, which is Songjog or connect. We will connect these new trained workers to different companies that require their low to semi-low skilled work. And our third step is Somproday, community building. We'll expand operation using these newly trained employees as motivation to get to the mass people and the other PWDs around the country. Our revenue model is very simple. 8% of their yearly income post-employment for only 1 year. The target market are the people with disabilities who are seeking employment, and we'll connect them to our clients who are the industries and firms looking for low to semi-skilled workers for their database jobs. Phase 1, rejuvenate. Through partnership with PFDA Vocational Training Center, we'll get access to victims of industrial accidents. Finding out that Savar has a large concentration of factories, it was selected as our primary location. We'll provide a classroom that can accommodate 50 students in 2 shifts. That means a total of 100 students in a batch. Following the requirements of specific jobs such as call center data annotation and data entry as mentioned, we compared them with the capabilities of different class of physically disabled people. We found out that call center can accommodate to physical and vision disabled people, and data entry and annotation can cater to physical, speech, and also hearing. When training in call centers, we'll teach them communication skills and call operating skills, and also we'll require some specialized hardware equipments such as braille phone switches and a single-handed keyboard. When it comes to data entry, there's basic computer skills required, and here we can integrate the speech and hearing disabled as well. They require some modern methods like sign language and lip reading, but they won't require any specialized hardware. Data annotation is a bit advanced and requires a longer time duration, but this field is so broad that it can incorporate almost every type of disabled people. Our second phase is Songjog or Connect. We'll market ourselves through websites and office visits along with post-contract services and follow-ups. We'll also use social media engagements and newspaper to get our point across. We'll certify our employees so that they have credibility during their employment. We'll also hold weekly visits to workplaces for the first month because even the clients and the PWDs need to get properly integrated into the workforce.
In our two phases, we worked with the victims of industrial accidents, but we want to go beyond them with our project. Here, our third phase, Sampradaya, comes in. We want to create a community for all the disabled people, and to do that, we're going to conduct seminars through NGOs where the trainees that are successful in their respective fields will be used as role models. We will be targeting the mass with incorporating with government to use the UDC as our training house. The trainers in those hubs can use as the trainers in future in UDCs. Currently, there are over 6,000 UDCs that are available that can be used as our training centers. And currently in these UDCs, there are already 30,000 young people has been trained. And these UDCs are massively underutilized. So we are going to use 10 UDC each year, and in each UDC we are going to train 10 PWDs, which will give us a total training of 100 per year. We are going to collaborate with 40 UDCs all over the country in 4 years so that we can decentralize our training program. Partnering up with 10-Minute School is one of our strategies so that we can tap up in the overall disabled people. Computer skill learning for the disabled learners with incorporating with some factors such as sign language can decentralize the whole learning process, and later on they can subscribe to us and get access to the jobs. We have categorized our timeline into 3 sections. The incubation, introduction, and expansion period executed over 3 years, and in long term we want to build more facilities and create national level impact. We have set some KPIs both for the beneficiaries and the clients so that we can evaluate our business, including training to employment ratio, attrition rate, enrollment to UDCs, number of clients, etc. As for the financial highlights, our initial investment is 31,99,500 and the total marketing budget is 9,80,000, which gives us a discounted payback period of 3.14 years. As for the SROI, we have taken some factors like employee sustainable employment, increased self-esteem, and improved lifestyle, which gives us a SROI of 5.56 times. Our business may suffer from some risk. For example, the client might be resistant to hiring the PWDs, which can be mitigated through our initiatives and the government pressure. The trainees might forget their basic education, which needs to be reinforced and supported. The client's infrastructure may not be PWD friendly, and here we need to make sure the trainees are semi-skilled in regular hardware. We are not aiming for something big. Rather, we want something realistic and sustainable. So how realistic our approaches is going to be shown in our activational video.
Most of us take the little things in life for granted. Sadly, the same cannot be said for those with disabilities. The world has been designed to make their lives harder than it already is, with little employment opportunities and immense social stigma. We at Nobojibon wanted to take a few small steps to make their lives better. We only had a week's time to work, during which we implemented 5 mini projects. We first talked to 3 disabled ex-industrial workers at the National Garments Federation who lost their limbs on the job with little to no support from their ex-employers post-incident. We then taught them basic functions of MS Excel, to which they were surprisingly receptive within just 15 minutes. We then carried out a similar project at the Government High School for the Deaf in Dhaka, where a group of adolescents were informed of our initiative and trained in MS Excel. Within 15 minutes, they were able to generate output on MS Excel themselves. To decentralize learning further, we hired a professional in sign language to add it to 10-Minute School's fundamental MS Excel training video. Within 4 days of posting, it had reached 13,776 people and had 3,886 engagements. Our fourth mini project involved talking to UDC entrepreneurs and getting commitment to collaborate on this project.
আসসালামু আলাইকুম আমি নাসরিন সুলতানা ঐশী এন্টারপ্রেনিউর শিমুলিয়া ইউনিয়ন ডিজিটাল সেন্টার আশুলিয়া সাভার ঢাকা নবজীবনের এই উদ্ভাবনী প্রযুক্তি উদ্যোগের সাথে আমি কাজ করতে আগ্রহী
Our fifth mini project was visiting a major call center and getting commitment to also collaborate in this endeavor.
আমি আরিফ ফুয়াদ রকি সিনিয়র সাইটিতে জব করছি কল সেন্টার ম্যানেজার হিসেবে নবজীবনের যে উদ্যোগটা যদি শুরু হয় সেক্ষেত্রে সিনিয়র সাইটি কল সেন্টার অবশ্যই এই উদ্যোগের পাশাপাশি থাকবে
Despite all this, do some of you still think this aim is too far-fetched? Well, the charts you've just seen in our presentation were not made by us. They were made by the people we reached out to. One small step from your end can make a massive change in theirs. Nobojibon Boichitre Shokti. Thank you.
Honorable judges, the video you've just seen is what we did in 5 days of effort. We're not going to pretend that we're going to change Bangladesh in a few days, but if 3 kids from university can reach out and make this impact, imagine what you can do with the money you have and the power you have. We can make small steps and make the lives of these people better. Thank you very much.
In your list of challenges, you have not put orientation to English as one of your challenges, especially in setting up call centers. Would that not be an impediment? Our given level of English proficiency versus countries like India at one point in time in commercializing this venture to a national level?
I think I'll answer that. So, sir, yes, there are many barriers that we won't deny that, and there are different cases, sir. So all the people with disabilities don't have the same level of education. We will assess them and then place them into different categories according to their needs. Again, sir, when we come to the actual thing, call center issue, when we dial someone, they ask us, press 1 for English, press 2 for Bangla. So there's categories within the industry that we can penetrate and put our people where they're best suited.
Sir, the other thing is, one of the people we met was a worker in a leather industry. He has education up to, I think, class 8. But the person he used to work with, he was a supervisor for shoe manufacturing, was a person from Japan. So while this person is not directly fluent in English, there are ways in which he can have a functional level understanding of the language. So maybe we don't place him on the forefront of receiving the call, but if the second part of the job, which is the input post-call, is needed, a lot of these people can be used as a part of the call center, like it's some kind of assembly line that a lot of call centers work through. So the call center we visited, which is Synesys IT, the way they work is there are 3 people per team receiving one call and doing the work together. So one person is the forefront of the call. The second person understands the request from the caller, from the first person, and puts that within the computer or processes the request. So a lot of these people, even if they're not fully fluent, can be part of the process through which we implement this project. We recognize that a lot of these, there are limitations, of course, within using each and every individual in each and every job, but that's the limitation we have. We're again setting very practical targets. We're targeting 100 trainees every year, whereas the number of disabled people in this country is more than that. But we think that if we can filter properly, this can act as a good complement to the other efforts for disabled people. But the unique thing about this project is it's sustainable. It's work that they will continuously do and do very well. Thank you, sir.
So for this project to become a self-sustaining model, otherwise the longevity of the project will not be there. Have you thought about, one part would be how it will continue as a self-sustaining model, and the other part is that there are not sufficient policies to support these individuals. Would you think about having some policies for these disabled in their workplace?
So I'd like to answer the policy part initially. So there are many places where they implement, for example, in America, there are many industries where government incentives are put in place. For example, they pay less taxes if they meet a specific quota of disabled people. When we partner up with the government, first of all, we'll get initial lots of reach, first of all. Our project will be verified, will have credibility, And as a result, if different companies can get a tax cut, then why won't they? If we certify that no, our disabled workers, they actually work and are not just disabled, they are just differently abled. So these specific incentives, which would again come at a later stage when we actually go to the government and discuss this, there are many different avenues. It's a very lucrative scheme because disabled people need a lot of policies and the government supports them in many ways.
Ma'am, I think to add to that, I think Raid very correctly points out a lot of the marketing and the negotiation that we can do with governments. But beyond that, I think there has to be some practical understanding of the limitations that we ourselves have. Presumably, this is a foundation doing this. If it is for explicit legal policies, the best case scenario of what we can do is lobby the government. There's a limitation beyond that. I don't think we have it within our capacity to change laws beyond lobbying. What we, however, can do for sustainability is use the capacity generated from this project in many ways. So if you look at the slides, we've given a revenue model of 8% of 1 year, where we take the salary of individuals, like 8% of their annual salary for 1 year. That puts us with a lot of money that we are going to use in our initial investment already. But if you notice, as this project expands, the sunk costs or the fixed costs with expansion reduce. This is because the UDCs that we're using are already built by the government. So for that, we have a lot of surplus money, and since it's a social business, we can use that money.
Thank you, team. Anything works. That will be all from the judges for the time being. Thank you for your participation.
Thank you very much, judges. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that amazing presentation, Team Anything Work. Now it's time for our second bunch of finalists, Team Gone with the Wind. This enthusiastic trio never shies away from boldness, and that's what fueled their spot into the final stage of Battle of Minds 2020. The stage is all yours, Gone with the Wind.
The book that had the most impact in my life is The Ministry of Utmost Happiness by Arundhati Roy. The story of Anjum the transgender had created a deep sense of empathy for this transgender population. Anyone who has read that book would feel how vibrant and how much potential this community holds and how much resilient they are. But still, the revered Brihonnala group of the Mughal Empire are now living a very miserable life. So, Team Gone with the Wind welcomes you all to the grand finale of the Battle of the Minds 2020. And without any further thought, we are targeting this marginalized group for our learning and skill development. So, according to the government data, the number of transgender is 10,000, but according to unofficial sources, the number is around 1 lakh. And this significant amount of population of the country lives in poverty. They don't provide any productive source to the economy, and they are very much stigmatized. But why is it so? It's because they don't get formal education, they don't get family support, and the employment scope is very low. For this reason, there is a slippery slope and there is a vicious cycle. What's the vicious cycle? For their livelihood, they have to depend on performing on different functions, or by begging and harassing people, or by working as sex workers. And this creates a vicious cycle of stigma that greatly harms them. So the pandemic has given us some facts to think about. About 8 out of 10 transgender people in the pandemic couldn't earn a single penny. About 6 out of 10 couldn't get any government aid. And about 9 out of 10 did not have any personal savings. And they were completely bankrupt. And for this reason, they were looking for scopes for getting alternate source of employment and coming out of the stigma. But various peer-reviewed journals tells a flip side of the story. Various peer-reviewed journal claims that the transgender people has great aesthetic sense, the transgender people are very creative, the transgender people are very artistic, and the various fashion transgender models, the various artists and the transgender fashion entrepreneurs of around the world endorses to that result. So going to our problem finding, we clearly see the problem in the 2 dimensions. Of the community side, we feel that they are trying to come out of the shell, they are trying to get out of the stigma, they are trying to get employment, but they are not getting that. But from the government side, the government has legalized them and given them a status, but that has still not been enough. And for this as an impact, they are very much neglected by their family and society. So our problem finding is of three aspects. In the first aspect, the access. They don't get access to the learning and skill development. For this reason, they are staying within the vicious cycle. For this reason, they don't get the proper employment, and that's why they are doing the work that they have no choice upon. And for this reason, for those works, the stigma and the vicious cycle of stigma goes on. So the core problem we identify is that we as a nation have completely failed them to give them access to the education and employment that they truly deserve, and that is why they are the most marginalized community of the country.
So how exactly do we plan on helping them live a better life and be a part of society? That is where we introduce Project Usha. Our aim is to teach these transgender people how to channel their inner creativity and incorporate that into the fashion industry. By creating employment here, we are giving them the opportunity to live their lives with dignity and in the long run, build a society where they are accepted for who they are. Now, who are the communities that are involved in this project? Firstly, of course, with 1 lakh transgender people, they're living a very difficult life with no education, no scope for employment due to discrimination, and hence, no savings. But they do want to live a better life than this, and that is where Project Usha ensures that they get proper access to skill development and use that useful knowledge to start earning. There are so many skilled youths out there, but with the unemployment rate being so high and around 27% of youths having not involved in any sort of education, employment, or training, they're having difficulties finding work. Project Usha provides them a platform to share that skill and knowledge. Our third target audience would be the different organizations around the country, such as NGOs, government institutions, and the Ministry of Social Welfare, who would provide the necessary support and resources needed to run and implement our project. That leads us to our implementation plan. Now, we started our pilot project, Proshikkon o Progoti, with 18 transgender people by collaborating with Brihonnola, which is a non-profit organization who works with the transgender community, and these sessions were held successfully at IIT Bangladesh. Over the course of 3 sessions, they were taught how to block print, tie-dye, and make different ornaments. However, maybe the AV might paint a better picture for you instead. Last week, the journey of our Project Usha started with the aim to specialize the transgender community in fashion sector and ensure their employment. To do so, we launched our pilot program Proshikkon o Progoti, where we started providing training sessions to our first batch of 18 transgenders with the collaboration with the non-government organization Brihonnola at IIT Bangladesh.
যখন শুনলাম যে উষা এমন একটি উদ্যোগ নিয়েছে তখন সত্যিই খুবই ভালো লাগলো। উষার এই চমৎকার উদ্যোগটির জন্য উষাকে অনেক অনেক বেশি শুভকামনা জানাচ্ছি আমরা বৃহন্নলা পরিবারের পক্ষ থেকে।
Throughout the session, we maintained strict health and hygiene protocols, ensured everyone is wearing a mask and maintained social distancing. In our 3-day session, the trainers who are fashion graduates focused on teaching them how to block print on fabric on the first day. On the second day, the trainer focused on teaching them how to tie-dye a cloth. On the final day, they focused on teaching them how to prepare different ornaments.
তাদের উৎসাহ উদ্দীপনা দেখে আমি খুবই অবাক হয়েছি। আমি নিশ্চিত ওদেরকে একটু যদি সাহায্য সহযোগিতা করা হয় তারা অনেক দূরে এগিয়ে যাবে।
উষার এই সংগঠনটিতে আমরা আসলাম, এখানে ওনারা কি করছে আমাদের ট্রেন দিচ্ছে, ব্লক, বাটিক বা হাতের অন্য সব হ্যান্ডিক্যাপসের কাজগুলোর জন্য ওনারা ট্রেন দিচ্ছে।
এখানে কাজ শেখা থাকে কিংবা অভিজ্ঞতা থাকে, তো আমরা ঘরে বসে আমরা এই কাজগুলি করতে পারবো। আছে আমাদের কাজ শেখার, আমরা কাজ শিখবো যদি আপনারা আরও কিছু ট্রেনিং করান আমাদেরকে, আর ট্রেনিংয়ের মাধ্যমে যদি আমরা আগ্রহ করে শিখি তো হয়তো আমরা ভালো কিছু করতে পারবো।
We featured our sessions and designs the transgender community is working on our official social media page and received tremendous response from people. 3 of them have already pre-ordered some of our products. The first batch of the products will be ready by February 2021. Project Usha, Tritiyader Proshikkone, Tritiyader Progotite. It takes 12.5 meters of fabric, 1 block of wood, and a few colors to make 5 designer dupattas. With the knowledge from our training sessions, a transgender person can easily make these at home with only an investment of 1,000 taka and generate a revenue of 1750. That leads to a return on investment of 75%. That gives you an idea of the impact our project has had on the community. Now, you may be wondering what happens next. In the future, when we launch our project in full scale, we aim to cover all of these topics as mentioned right here. And of course, these will be covered by fashion design graduates, which would be a very good opportunity for them as well. Now, the chief designer will come up with designs, trendy designs that are in, and teach them to the transgender people. The raw materials would be sourced accordingly by the team. And with our first batch of 18 transgender people, we will start our production. Here, we will incorporate the youth, the skilled youth, of course, who would carry out the functions of marketing and sales.
Now, the question comes, how the transgender will be working at Usha. So a chief designer will be assigned by us who will be designing the product. Then we will be dividing the 18 transgender into 5 teams to carry out different operation. A team of 4 will be cutting the fabric based on the design given by the chief designer. Then a team of 4 will be hand stitching and doing the embroidery. And then a team of 4 will be dyeing different color on fabrics, and then a team of 3 will be printing, and finally a team of 3 will be packaging and quality controlling the products for its final destination. And to sell the products, we will have a dedicated website, www.projectusha.com, where one will be finding different categories of fashion products made by this transgender community. Moving on, for our marketing plan, we will be launching a fashion show to break the social stigma where the transgender people will be working as fashion models. This will show to the whole nation how talented and artistic this community can be if they are provided with enough opportunities and support. Also, we will be running different social media campaigns, such as posting empowering stories of the transgenders, running influencer campaign with the popular faces of the fashion industry, and running different hashtag campaigns. This will help us to change the existing negative perception we have about the transgender. Moving on, we will also be installing stalls in the trade fairs, such as Dhaka International Trade Fair, where the transgender will be interacting directly with consumer. This will be another step forward to integrate this vulnerable community into our mainstream society. Moving on, as the pilot project was a success, this shows the feasibility of our plan. Talking about the sustainability, Usha will be earning profits by selling these fashion products. Talking about the scalability, these profits will be used to train and employ more transgender across the country in upcoming years. And in the bigger picture, we will be working with 5 sustainable development goals, such as no poverty, quality education, gender equality, good jobs and economic growth, and reduced inequalities. Moving on, we have also come up with 3 possible challenging scenarios and have already come up with their mitigation strategies. Such as, for example, in case of a cultural pressure faced by the transgender community, we can launch an evening training session. For the challenge of existing perception of the people, we can run awareness session with popular faces like Mashrafi, Rubana Haq, Jaya Hassan, Bibi Russell, and others. Moving on to the financial summary. For our project, we will be requiring a total investment of 7.1 million BDT. And this investment will generate 8.3 million of net present value in 5 years with an ROI of 17.11%. So of the 7.1 million, 4 million will be given by Pledge Foundation, the foundation under which we are working. And we are now asking for 1.5 million, and the rest of the money we can take as loan from a bank. So to conclude our presentation, our project will create more than 1,500 employment in our economy in the upcoming 5 years. Also, almost 15% of this vulnerable community's standard of living will be improved. And also this community will be helping to our economy by paying taxes to the government. So we believe with our idea, we will be work for the development of a non-neglected community that has been deprived of basic access to education, skill, and employment. Because we believe it's the spirit that matters, not the genders. So that concludes our presentation. We are now open for your valuable questions. Thank you.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
So anyways, good presentation, nice idea. Just wanted to touch base. So you've identified social stigma, access to education is a key bottleneck in grooming this community. and what you're addressing is an end game factor, which is employment. Would you rather focus on the core bottleneck of access to education of transgenders, or do you think providing employment would eventually pave the way for societal acceptance?
So to answer that question, actually when we were running our pilot project, we got to run a survey, and we found that most of the transgender are already enrolled in different colleges under national university. And this was the statistic from our survey, that 3 out of the 18 are currently enrolled in higher education, 11 out of 18 had basic primary education, but just 4 out of 18 did not have any education in background. So what we are planning to do is that as the most of the transgender are already educated, so the few numbers who do not have access to education, we can partner up with the Teach for Bangladesh initiative and can arrange their learning session at the same time of our skill development programs as well.
Thank you, guys. I think new idea, and I think you were very bold in picking these group of people who are very, very marginalized and suffering from the stigma. Thank you for doing that. Just very simple question, which I think needs a bit of more attention is: are we ready as a society for this kind of people, either to see them on the ramp or to see them, working side by side with, other people who are still in a very different mindset? They don't accept. They make jokes out of this. How do you think that this kind of risk will be mitigated just by going out there and suddenly making them available in big platforms? You don't want this to have an effect which will be more negative for them. So how do you manage or think that this you can overcome easily? This is huge awareness and change of mindset of the society.
To answer that question, ma'am, we will be posting empowering stories, and also another point that I want to mention, that in our neighboring country, India, we saw so many fashion shows where the transgender models are working. So if a country like India can do that, why not Bangladesh?
And also to add to that, we had inspiration from transgender fashion entrepreneurs. We had Arifa Islam Moiri, whose picture we featured in a slide. There are transgender entrepreneurs who are coming in the scene, and people are buying their products. And she is one of the leading fashion entrepreneurs in Jamalpur district. So in a point, they are coming out, they are inspiration of those people. So this gives us that, yes, people are actually accepting them, we are seeing them, and so this gives us a strong case for our pursuit.
It's a long process, but of course we have to start somewhere. And this is why we want to take this initiative and use this to change the perception of the people who aren't open to the transgenders yet. So, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, team, on with the win. First of all, thank you for picking this topic and putting together this presentation, and also for your project pilot with Usha. This is actually very inspiring. Yeah? So kudos on that. Yeah. One of the things that I just wanted to ask is, you shared that there would be an employment opportunity for about 1,550 plus people, which seems to be a very small impact of less than 1% of the target population that you want to work with. So my question is, what can we do so that we can scale it up faster and bigger, so that there is more involvement and the problem statement that you started with, which is marginalization of the community, that they can come out of that?
So to answer that question, actually more than 1,500 employment, according to the government data, that's around 15%, if we consider the government data as the base data. And to scale up the operation, in our future plan, what we are planning to do is that we also want to help them to build their own SME. We have already seen the success story of Ms. Arifa Khan Moyuri, who was the winner of National SME Entrepreneur Award in last year. So we will be collaborating with Midland Bank, which works for the development of transgender community, and we will be providing them the necessary support and the networking support and whatever they need, and we will be helping them to build their own SME, and these SMEs will be employing other transgender as well. So thus we will be able to scale up and reach to more transgender.
Thank you very much, Team Gone with the Wind.
Thank you for that great presentation, Team Gone with the Wind. Next up is Team Go For It, representing IBA University of Dhaka. These dynamic individuals find their strength in friendship while each bringing something new to the table. Go for it, guys.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Team Go For It, and today we are reimagining the moringa situation in Bangladesh. Starting with, what is moringa actually? We all know that it's a very popular vegetable in Bangladesh known as shajna that we often have in our daily meal as a vegetable curry. And the good thing about this is it is extremely nutritious, and interestingly, this plant grows very well in the Bangladeshi atmosphere. But till now, commercial cultivation hasn't been very popular. Now, our objective today is to come up with a crop-to-consumer business model that will ensure farmers have a higher income, and at the same time we come up with a viable business plan. So today, let's take a look at what are the products that we can create with moringa. Starting with, we could go for personal care products such as moringa hair oil, moringa soap, moringa shampoos, etc. But the problem with that is it is extremely saturated industry where foreign players and local players are doing a lot of things, particularly specialized natural products, and which is very competitive. Thus, it is not a very viable solution for us since we will only be providing raw materials. Next up, we have the food supplements or beverages industry, where there's a lot of scope for innovative products such as moringa biscuits, moringa tea, coffee, etc. But again, the problem is the target group is very small. It's only the old, aged, and very health-conscious people, the number of which is very small. At the same time, it takes a lot of time to establish such brands, and the problem is there are a lot of other alternatives available since moringa powder does not always taste very good. But there's something else that we looked into. We found out that there's a huge opportunity space for animal feed. Animal feed is extremely nutritious for, the moringa is extremely nutritious for animal feed, mainly because of its nutrition properties like high protein amount and antibiotic properties. Now, do we have enough opportunity in this animal feed? The answer is obviously yes. Around 33 million people are directly involved with this industry, where they come up with small and micro farms, and these people are consistently dependent on the animal feed. And that is the reason this industry is growing at a rate of 5.5% annually. But that is not the case all the time. Let's look at the story of Mr. Farid. He used to be a crop farmer before, but now with hopes of high profit, he went for poultry cultivation with all his life's investment. But unfortunately, within few months after investment, he realized that most of his chickens were dying. When he consulted experts, he came to know that they were dying mainly because of the poor quality of animal feed that he was using. So he was asked to go for more expensive animal feed. But unfortunately, since he just started his business, he could not afford to do so and eventually had to stop his business. So this is just the tip of the iceberg. If we look at the feed industry, we see that 60% of the raw materials come from abroad, mainly because the raw materials such as maize and soybeans are not available consistently in Bangladesh. So we are heavily dependent on imports. At the same time, around 20% of the entire feed industry comes from abroad because local producers cannot produce enough. So these are the reasons that make the price of these animal feed very high in Bangladesh. So this tells us that there's a gap. There's a gap that needs to be tackled. The gap is if we can provide affordable and effective animal feed that is supplied from locally, we can come up with a very viable business solution.
Right. So we found our solution in moringa.
Why? Because moringa's year-round availability gives it an added advantage over crops like maize or corn, which are mostly not available all the year round, highly seasonal, has varied prices year round. Moreover, this also means there is more affordability for moringa because now there is reduced necessity for bulk purchases. It is also super effective because moringa has proven to increase yields of milk and eggs in cattle and poultry. It is also enriched in natural fattening and antibiotic properties, which means these can act as substitute for synthetic ingredients, whereas maize or corn simply serves as a source for macronutrients at the moment. We present to you Briddhi, a moringa-based animal feed brand that is for the farmers and by the farmers. As part of our product mix, we want to bring 3 new products to the market: ready-made cattle feed, ready-made poultry feed, and processed moringa leaves. The target consumers are mainly divided into 2 categories. Our primary targets will be rural farmers, small and medium-scale farms that are largely characterized by low affordability and awareness and their inability to produce their own food. Large agro-businesses, on the other hand, will be our secondary target consumers because they are characterized by necessity for specialized offerings and scope for highly customized goods.
3 days, 5 different villages, multiple on-hand workshops. We started off with a little village in Mymensingh where we raised awareness about moringa and invited the farmers for an interactive session with us through miking and boat announcements. Around 40 farmers showed up with very high curiosity. We showed them one by one what the benefits of moringa cultivation are. We also showed them videos of their favorite Shaikh Siraj endorsing moringa cultivation. A tremendous response was found amongst the farmers, especially the female ones who were very eager to plant moringa. Overall, the farmers were truly interested and then wanted to plant these trees, and Team Go For It could not say no. We distributed 18 moringa saplings amongst the farmers while teaching them proper planting practices. At the end of the day, out of the 40 farmers, all of them assured that they would plant at least 1 moringa tree around their house. But now, do we have enough demand for our unique set of products? So we went to a few poultry and cattle farms to understand our consumers better. Most of them voiced concerns regarding high prices of their feed, lack of consistent supply of ingredients, and frequent use of harmful chemicals. So when we told them about our moringa-based affordable product line with natural antibiotic and fattening properties, they all showed interest.
মুরগির জন্য ভালো হয় তো অবশ্যই চেষ্টা করব নেওয়ার জন্য খাবারটা খাজনা যদি ভালো হয় তাহলে অবশ্যই আমরা খাবো
So what have we achieved so far? Around 300 people and 5 businesses made aware of moringa benefits. 40 farmers now know how to cultivate moringa. 9 out of 10 farmers wanted to start moringa cultivation immediately, and 18 moringa saplings planted, from the parts of which many more trees will grow in the future.
Now that we have looked at the pain points of our target consumers and the feasibility of our product offerings, it's time to implement our vision for this business, which focuses on 2 key areas: ensuring supply as well as generating sales. So we start with cultivation because we did extensive research to find out which areas of the country are most suitable for moringa cultivation. So keeping in mind that waterlogging and poor drainage facilities can prove fatal for moringa plantation, we chose Mymensingh and Rangpur as our primary locations for starting cultivation. Our cultivation strategy focuses on 2 phases. The first phase starts with independent cultivators where we produce our moringa produce from. So these cultivators are rural men and women with open spaces and unused spaces around their households that they can use for cultivation. In the second phase, we start with commercial cultivation using designated lands and enlisting farmers directly under our brand. This helps us to maintain better quality control, ease of management practices, as well as guarantee supply year-round. Why did we not start with commercial cultivation from the get-go? Because it comes with its own challenges of having long lead times and high investments. Compared to that, if we start with independent cultivators, we can mitigate these problems because there is little to no opportunity cost. These also have low investment and low involvement on part of the farmers, as well as serve as additional income source for these very farmers to act as incentives.
So we, at the same time, in order to ease the process of management, we'll also introduce an SSID-based management platform that can be accessible by both these enlisted farmers as well as our regional officers. In this platform, farmers will give regular inputs regarding planting seeds, harvesting crops, and can also get timely reminders for farming practices as well as watering and fertilizing their plants. This will ensure real-time tracking of the entire cultivation process and reduce the inefficiencies that can result from this distributed mechanism. Next, collection distribution, which can be best described as a farmer-to-farmer model. We have district-level depots in all our cultivating regions or districts where the independent as well as commercial farmers will give and submit or deposit their produce in these depots, from which these will be transported to Ghazipur, where our manufacturing plant will be located. From Ghazipur, the finished products will then again go back to the district depots where they will be transported and distributed to our consumers, the cattle and poultry farms.
No plan is great unless you can sell it. So for our plan to work, we need to convince cultivators to grow moringa and customers to buy our product, starting with cultivators. To get them on board, we will carry out Uthan sessions in partnership with Bangladesh Krishi Unnayan Corporation, and where we will outline how easy it is to cultivate moringa around your house and how lucrative it is as an income source. We will also carry out on-hands training on moringa cultivation and our app and SSID management. We hope that through this program, we can enlist enough farmers to kickstart our operations. Farmers are the backbone of our nation, but they are hardly celebrated. So to remedy that, we introduced Krishoker Briddhi Anand Utsav, an annual festival hosted at various villages for our moringa cultivators. This event will act as a memoir for these farmers and will give them memories they can cherish all year long. Footages from this function and success stories will be featured on our documentary show on TV and social media. Apart from turning our farmers into pseudo-celebrities, this will also act as our marketing platform for us to communicate how our product is transforming the agricultural industry. Moving to customers, we first need to build brand awareness and build relationship with our customers. Through the Briddhi Support Program, our field representatives will build rapport among poultry and cattle farmers by providing them with advisory services. And cards like this will be distributed where there will be contact points they can reach out to in their day-to-day hurdles. Selected farmers will act as our influencers in these communities, as in these tightly knit communities, their words are of much value. Malnourishment and death of cattle and poultry are result to huge losses for these farmers. To tackle that, in partnership with Bangladesh Animal Husbandry Society, we will carry out training program on proper nutritional practices and distribute diet charts while communicating how our product addresses their pain points at a very affordable price. So we feel that we have reimagined the use of moringa, but is our plan financially feasible? This is the detailed timeline of our activities. Our KPIs are based on demand and supply side. As we start very small, we have a small initial investment of 34.73 million with a payback period of 3.82 years and an IRR of 19.36%. This is our pro forma income statement. So what's in the future of Briddhi? We want to facilitate moringa cultivation in all highlands of Bangladesh, establish Briddhi brand among farmers to gain market share, expand our product line with more agricultural products, and eventually become export-oriented to other potential markets. So by transforming an everyday vegetable to a potential staple in animal farms, what has Team Go For It really achieved? We've provided rural women and farmers an sustainable additional source of income while giving access to an affordable, high-yield generating organic feed to cattle and poultry farmers. And in this way, we reimagine the use of moringa cultivation in our country. Thank you.
Thank you, Team Go For It, for your presentation. It was an interesting concept that you presented. I have a few questions regarding specifics. Couple of specific questions. Do you have any study regarding how much you need to produce for how much feed?
Yeah. Yes. So usually in terms of the amount of land that we need and the produce that we need to get, so from around 1 hectare of land, we can get around 80 tons of leaves, from which we have a conversion rate of around 20% that can be utilized for our feed production. So from say 80 tons of leaf production, we can get potentially around 10 to 15% conversion rate. So 10 to 15 tons of animal feed can be produced from the 80 tons of leaves.
So your price, can you tell me what is the average price of the for the feeds right now in the market?
It's varied for cattle feed, but sort of constant for poultry feed. So our market research showed that for poultry feed, the local goods brands are usually priced at around 39 to 42 taka, and the imported feed usually are priced at from 45 to 48 taka. For cattle feed, because there are a wide variety of ingredients that can be utilized to make this cattle feed, these prices usually range from 32 taka to as high as 55 taka. So our pricing was designed competitively because we were trying to serve as a substitute for imported goods, because we provide higher value in terms of nutrition as well as yields. Our poultry feed as well as our cattle feed are priced at 42 taka per kg.
So your case is almost based on no opportunity cost for the farmers. My question is, what's the trade-off that you have calculated if the farmers are to shift to moringa cultivation?
Thank you for your question, sir. So basically, we are going for an around-the-house plantation model where there is actually no opportunity cost for our independent cultivators, where we will be mostly targeting rural women who can just cultivate it around their house, as moringa has the capability to grow in almost all kinds of soil. Moreover, the investment here is also very low, as one tree can give birth to a lot of trees. Like if you just plant the stem of one tree, it will give birth to another tree. So that's why the investment and the opportunity cost is almost negligible for these farmers.
Moreover, if I may add to that, sir, for our commercial cultivators, we initially thought about this beforehand, right? So because there is a long lead time, and for our commercial cultivators, we'll be cultivating these plants in large-scale lands, we felt that this lead time needs to be covered, which is why we opted for 2 phases, where in the initial phase, we have independent cultivators, and by that time, we ensure that we give the commercial cultivators enough incentive and enough time to build up their, process the land for moringa cultivation. So we feel that even in that sense, we reduce the opportunity costs for these commercial cultivators as well.
Okay, last question. For animal feed, moringa-based animal feed, my understanding is still in experimental phase. Humans very well understood the medicinal properties of moringa, not animals. So what gives you the confidence that this would pick up as an animal feed?
Sir, the confidence comes from the idea that moringa itself has very high nutrition value. At the same time, it can be pelletized and can be mixed with existing foods that, cattle or poultry already consume, particularly in terms of cattle as well as poultry feed. Poultry farming is highly dependent on pelletized food, and it is something, because it has high nutrition value, it's something that can be readily adopted by the poultry farms. For cattle feed, even if there is no early adoption, there is the opportunity of processing it and then mixing it with the silage, which is already being done in case of maize or corn-based feed that are readily available in the market. So we feel that because of higher nutrition value, as also something that is coherent with the taste profiles of cattle as well as poultry, this is something that will gradually, will grow on the grow on part of the cattle farms, and there is organic demand growing for it as well.
Okay.
Just a small question from my end, guys. Thank you for your presentations. How do you link the farmers' products with the people who are going to buy it? So how do you establish the link, and why would they? Because they're already doing something which they're getting yield and used to doing certain cultivations at certain times of the year. So I understand that this is something which can be done very easily, can be done in their own homestead, etc. But still, I think the awareness is not, as I understand, right? So these are the 2 sides of my question. How do you create that linkage? And the second, is how the farmer needs to have that confidence that his product will get that the money, the ROI. Yeah. So I just don't understand the way that you are trying to sell this to the farmers, and then how do they get to the return on their investment with confidence?
Ma'am, for raising the awareness, we have Vidhi support program and our Uthan sessions to do BTL and door-to-door marketing at this farmer levels for both poultry farmers and for our cultivators. And in terms of ROI, we haven't yet planned out like the exact, but we plan on taking them on more of a salary module, and based on how much they're giving us, they'll get the return for that at very competitive prices.
And if I may add to that, one of the biggest issues that farmers face nowadays is the seasonality of their produce and the sheer lack of diversification of different parts of the plants that they can use. But for Moringa, we open up a new, say, opportunity space altogether, because from this plant, it's not necessarily that they're dependent on the fruits of the plant or the leaves of the plant. There are other aspects of the plant that can be used and that we as a company, as a brand, want to diversify into in the future as well. For example, from the seeds of Moringa plants, we can have antimicrobial powders that can be used for aquaculture. From the stems as well as the shoots of the plants, we can produce manure and growth hormone products for the plants as well. These are also products that have high demands and requires import substitutes, which are locally produced in the local market as well as of right now. So moving forward, we feel that the incentive that we provide these farmers, that you know what, you can diversify your income source and you can use different parts of the plants to, you know, get better returns on your investments, is something that we felt will be lucrative to these farmers as well.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, team. Go for it. Thank you for your presentation. I think the judges don't have any more questions. Best of luck.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Amazing job with the presentation, team. Go for it. Now taking the stage are our next set of finalists, Team Time Travelers. They've formed the perfect synergy that has made teamwork a breeze on their journey to become this year's finalists. Let's see what they have got in store for us.
Bangladesh, a country thriving on agriculture, has 87% of the rural households depending on agro-worker income. Yet, the heart of this sector, the farmers, are sufferers of underpay, toxic middleman culture, and the catastrophe of frequent natural disasters. Their plight intensifies with the seasonal drought they experience every year. The northwestern region of Bangladesh is facing gradual declination in groundwater level and arid soil. Crops worth 1,800 million taka is being lost every year. What can be the possible solution of farming under such conditions of no water, extremely high temperature, and arid soil? The solution lies in Moringa, a drought-resistant multi-purpose plant. It can grow in huge quantities and has high nutritional and medicinal value. This makes Moringa a highly lucrative plant which can be used across multiple industries. It has a growing demand in food supplement and cosmetic value chains. For this reason, the other countries are gravitating to this promising market. However, the reality of Bangladesh is quite different. The reality of Bangladesh indicates that this market is an extremely niche one. There is no widespread demand for food supplements in our local market. To export these products, we need to meet the strict standards set by international buyers. For this reason, even if we maintain the highest quality, there is a lot of chance that our products will be discarded. However, there's one quality of Moringa that has a huge demand in Bangladesh. That is purification of water. Just 1.5 gram of powdered Moringa seed can purify 10 liters of water. Multiple researchers have shown that Moringa powder can filter out 99% of impurities and is highly efficient in meeting the drinking water requirement set by World Health Organization. How is this relevant to the case for Bangladesh? Access to safe and pure drinking water has always been a problem in this country. Especially for being a flood-prone country, the water sources are regularly contaminated. The slum dwellers, owing to poor urban planning, and the marginalized communities all across Bangladesh do not have fresh water supply and cannot afford the luxury of water filters. This takes a toll on their health and spreads waterborne diseases. To combat this problem, we present to you Aquamori, powdered moringa seeds to be used for water filtration in the form of sachet. Our one sachet can purify 10 liters of water. That is, it serves the drinking water requirement of one person for 3 days. And the best part, it costs only 3 taka. The other competitors in the market are either too expensive, or the most commonly used product, Fitcurry, has chemical side effects. Aquamori is organic, effective, and economic. We created the product keeping the flood-affected and the lower-income communities in mind. It can be used in emergency and disaster relief, military missions, and by thousands of NGOs all across Bangladesh. Apart from this, we have detected a huge market I'm sure all of us can relate to. Let's take a look at our activation video and find out the untapped commercial market for our product.
Dhaka city is home to 500,000 food hawkers and street carts. Most of these hawkers reuse water without any kind of purification. It is financially impossible for food cart owners to buy gallons of fresh water every day. What's the consequence? Thousands of people eating fuchka, chotpoti lemonade are falling victim to waterborne diseases. If reusing water is the only feasible option, why not do it in a safer, cheaper and cleaner way? Introducing Aquamori. Aquamori ashar naam Shuddha Panir Alpo Dam. We teamed up with Azad Bhai, your average food hawker, and renovated his cart for a day. We stepped into his shoes to see if Aquamori can work its magic in attracting customers. To activate our product, we visited 5 locations in Dhaka city and propagated our message by distributing leaflets, demonstrating our product concept, and conducting market research. We even interacted and played fun games with people where the winners were served free food from Azad Bhai's cart. From the overall activation, we got to know about the reaction to this product.
চার দোকানে এক গ্লাস পানি দাম 2 টাকা
10 লিটার পানি দিয়ে আমরা 3 টাকা দিয়ে পাইতেছি আর গ্যাসের চুলা আমাদের রাখতে 1 ঘন্টা লাগে
আমার কাছে ভালো লাগছে এই কারণে এই প্রোডাক্টটা অর্গানিক
কারণ পানিটাই তো মেন জীবনই তো পানি কারণ পানিটা ছোট বড় সবাই খায় এটা পরিষ্কার পরিচ্ছন্নতা রাখতেই হবে আবার আমি যে ব্যবসাটা করি মনে করেন ব্যবসাটা জনগণে খায় ছোট বড় সবাই এসে খায় এটা যদি পরিষ্কার পরিচ্ছন্নতা থাকে সবাই একটা ভক্তি করে আসে লাইনে যদি পানি ডিস্টার্ব থাকে বা পানির ভিতরে ময়লা আসে এটা তো আমরা পরিষ্কার
While we had the privilege to take care of Azad Bhai's cart, we couldn't do the same for the very place he lived in.
মানুষের জন্য কেউ কিছু খাইতে পারে না না তরকারি দিতে পারে না কিছু করতে পারে না মুখ দেওয়া যায় না আমরা বাইরের থেকে টোকায় টোকায় দিয়ে পানি আনি আইনা তারপর খাই
Though the current situation is deplorable, we see a ray of hope in changing the status quo. Aquamori has a potential to serve these people fresh water and bring a smile on the face of millions of Azad Bhais across Bangladesh.
We believe you are convinced about the potential of Moringa. Now, let us discuss our execution plan. Our execution plan will have 3 steps: cultivate, process, and market. Now, where are we going to cultivate our crops? These are some of the areas where we are planning to cultivate, like Rangpur, Dinajpur, Naugaon, Rajshahi, Joypurhat, Nabganj, and Bogura. The reason for this is that these places have severe flood, meaning warm weather, which is ideal for cultivating moringa, and these places are less prone to flood. Now, to know our farmers better, we have visited Atibhal village and talked to them and got some key insights. Our insights have shown us that we have to work with large cooperatives and large farmers because of opinion leadership and because they have more control over the resources. However, there are small farmers with smaller lands who are unable to cultivate moringa because of a higher opportunity cost. But they have unused land in their homestead. This can be used by women to cultivate moringa. Planting just 20 moringa trees can give them an output of a whopping 3,000 taka per month. This will add an additional income to the family and the woman will be financially independent. Here's the detailed cultivation timeline as you can see. Until February, we're going to select and prepare our land. We'll sow our seeds in March. And by June, the leaves will bloom, which can be cultivated monthly. And at the end, in October, we'll be able to harvest our seeds. Now for the processing plan. Our factory will have 3 kinds of... Our factory will be located in Naugaon, specifically in Mahadevpur, because it is less prone to flood and it will work as a central hub for the time when we expand to the other locations.
Our factory will have 3 kinds of machine: a seed grinding, a leaf grinding, and a packaging machine. With a factory area of 7,000 square feet, we're looking at producing 14.4 million sachets every year. For the parts processing, we will process our seeds to make Aquamori, our star product. However, we understand the potential of leaves, so we will process it and sell it for cash cow profits. For the other parts like the bark and the gum, we will actually outsource it to pharma companies, while the flowers and the roots will be sold in vegetable markets. As for our value chain, we will cultivate our crops through large holders and homestead. It will be sourced directly to our factory in Noga. Right here, the seeds will be processed into Aquamori, which will be sold in commercial markets, while the leaf will be processed and sent to other companies like Khas Food through vertical partnership. And as for distribution, ACI Logistics will help us to distribute our product countrywide.
Now for the marketing and distribution, we as Hope Foundation are initiating a project called Bij Buni Jibon Bachai. This literally translates our plan of transforming and saving millions of lives through the very seeds that we are planting. This program is essentially a crop-to-consumer model that we like to term as a seed-to-sachet program. And this program will have 2 ends. Firstly, marketing our seeds to the farmers, and then distributing our sachets to the defined target groups. Now, let's start with marketing our seeds. We are going to hire rural project agents who are going to conduct relevant activities in an attempt to convince our target farmers. In order to know what sort of activities do work and are effective, we reached out to these farmers and interviewed them firsthand. And we got to know that these people are reached effectively when we use word of mouth. However, when this word of mouth is initiated by influential people like Union Parishad chairman or Upajela Krishi officers, this strategy is much more effective. So now that we have gathered up the influential farmer families, we now have the potential to organize village panchayat and agri workshops where we will initiate our seed to sachet program. In this very workshop, we are going to communicate the farmers' return on investment, provide them with training and assistance, and finally demonstrate the potential for Aquamori products. Just think about the potential of the impact that this program will have on the farmers and on their families. For example, take the case study of Rohim Chacha. The very seeds that he is planting is used to produce our product Aquamori that has the potential to provide clean access drinking water to his daughter living in the coral slums of Dhaka city. Just think about the impact that this story holds, right? However, just building upon emotional touch points will not convince our target farmers, because at the end of the day, everything boils down to farmer stability and farmer security. And we initiate that by initiating a farmer loyalty program where we will end up giving seed purchase guarantees, free fertilizer and crop support, and provide them with low-interest agri-finance. Now, for the distribution of our sachets, we are going to target the B2B market where we will aim to reach at least 5% of our local disaster relief agencies by the end of year 1. We're going to partner with an international NGO like WaterAid, who has a strong presence with their climate resilience projects all over Bangladesh, and leverage government tenders to ensure year-round supply of our product on the B2B end. As for the B2C market, we're going to initiate a free sampling program and aim to reach at least 50,000 food hawkers all throughout Dhaka city by the end of year 1. Now, if we condense our entire timeline into one project Gantt chart, you can see that we have divided our activities into 3 phases over a span of 2 years, as Tajwar has mentioned. For the finances of our project, we are expected to become a cash positive business somewhere between the year 2021 and 2022. For the return on investment, our business is generating a negative ROI of 16% in the first year, but quickly transforming into a positive ROI business of 15% by the end of the second year. We can also assess the feasibility of our project if we look at the different discount rates and the resulting positive net present values. But finally, with our allotted budget, we have successfully executed 3 activation campaigns. One involving Azad Bhai and his food cart, the other outlining our visit to the Rayar Bazar slums, and the third one is the farmer activation that took place at Atibhaul Gram at Taranagar Union.
We are an organization which is driven by the passion to do something for society. Previously, even in the best case scenario, a farmer used to earn around 1 lakh taka per year. Coming under our project, his income is going to increase by 227%. Moringa will end their cycle of poverty and bring some hope in their barren lands. The additional income from growing Moringa additional income from growing moringa will help the woman in being empowered. We are solving the water pollution crisis that is faced by millions of people. By the end of second year, Aquamori will bring fresh water to around 2.88 million people. With our Seed to Sachet program, we're utilizing the potential of the deprived farmers to create Aquamori to serve the underprivileged communities while creating positive impacts on both ends. We are meeting SDG goals and we are focusing on our current problem. Can we have 20 seconds more? We are focusing on our current problems by focusing on feasibility and sustainability. The only way we can reimagine tomorrow is by prioritizing our people and focusing on their financial and social stability. Thank you.
Very good, guys. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Good. A few questions. Number one is, the cornerstone of your argument is your ability to produce the powdered sachet for 3 taka or around that price. So how confident and how did you guys come up with this?
All right, so the cost of the product for making one sachet is 1.2 taka. So we considered that the price will be 3 taka with increase in 40%.
Okay. How did you guys come up with the cost of 1.2 taka?
Well, we considered the cost of purchasing the seed and the little amount of chemical that we're using, and this is how we came up with the cost of the product.
We have also considered other parameters of cost like distribution. We have other parameters like the farmer loyalty program that we're initiating. So it is accounted, the marketing costs are accounted, the logistical cost about establishing a factory, everything is taken into account. And we have shown you that in the first year, because the cost of production is so high that the ROI was negative in the first year. However, by the second year, the ROI has proved up to be a positive percentage of 15%.
I understand. Secondly, how are you getting the confidence that one sachet will clean 10 liters? Is this in existence anywhere?
Yes, sir.
Is anyone else selling this internationally somewhere?
Please go on, sir.
Sorry, I was saying, how did you guys get the confidence that this actually works? That your sachet will clean 10 liters of water? Is it in existence anywhere?
Yes, the efficiency of moringa powder in treating water is actually backed by multiple research papers. Aptai, can you please go to the slide of the moringa research?
Give me a second. Yeah.
So this is a research paper published in an international journal, and it is set in India and is published in 2014, which specifically focuses on the efficiency of moringa powder in water treatment industry. So Moringa oleifera is basically an eco-friendly and completely organic product which has a natural buffering capacity and does not make the water hard. So we can see that the current product that's been used in the market is aluminum sulfate, and if you see a comparison with similar dosage of moringa and aluminum sulfate, here you can see that the performance of moringa is equivalent, if not better. In fact, in eliminating the total dissolved solid, moringa's performance is better than aluminum sulfate. So it is research-backed and it has been published in multiple international journals.
Sir, as we're speaking, currently India is on the rollout process of such a sachet-based moringa product. So that is something that is actually feasible and it is backed up by multiple researchers. However, it's not commercialized as of yet, and we have put our own spin to the entire idea.
And to add to that, before going into execution, we plan to collaborate with the research and development team of Bangladesh Agricultural Research Institute to come up with a more finer formula for this sachet.
I would like to add something to that, like how we came up with the 3 taka per sachet. The fact is that the main part of the moringa that gives us money is actually the leaves, which we are processing and selling. So the seeds, we are actually giving the farmer more value than what it is actually worth. And with that, we're actually being able to produce in large scale of the sachets for which the prices are actually low at 1.2 taka, because it only takes around 3 grams of powder to purify 10 liters of water. And a kilo of moringa seeds, for example, in the current market is around like 150 or 200 taka. So we're actually overpaying the farmers when it comes to the seeds. And the main cash cow is actually the leaves, which we're processing.
Okay. The other question is on setting up your production facility and your growing facility, all your model seems to be in-house. Have you thought of partnerships where you can outsource some ready partners into this?
Sir, did you mean like outsourcing the production facility for like our powder, like Aquamori?
As opposed to you three building a factory, can an existing operator grind the seeds for you, for example?
Sir, actually, we have done adequate research and found out that the machines were not that expensive to begin with. It's like $3,000 to $4,000. For example, the seed grinding. There are multiple capacities, so we have looked into that as well. A seed grinding machine has a capacity of about 100 kilograms of seed crushing per hour. So it is completely possible to set up the factory at lower prices instead of outsourcing it, because when we make it in-house, at that time we don't have to give a cut to someone else. As for the leaves, we are actually outsourcing it. Our main focus is on the Aquamori, which is our staple product. And for gaining money, what we are doing is we're actually outsourcing the leaves with which we will get our actual return. And the Aquamori is mainly for a social cause and for the benefit of the lives of the farmers.
Sir, in our slide, we have shown you that what we are planning to do with the other parts of Moringa, because the Moringa tree is a multi-purpose plant. So the barks have uses, the roots have uses, so the farmers just providing us with seed will not cut it for the farmer or even on our end. So what we have shown you in the plan, that for the other parts like gums or roots, we are indeed outsourcing it to pharma companies, or even for the case of barks, we are giving it, we're partnering with Khas Food and Neo Farmers and giving them the major portion of the leaves and keeping the seeds for ourselves, which is used in the production of our star product, which is Aquamori.
Okay, thanks.
So, a few questions from my side. I think what Safad Bhai was talking about is when you are trying to sell the benefits of water purification, have you thought about the certification process? Because that then becomes a key element of what you're trying to sell.
We are collaborating with the research and development team of Bangladesh Agriculture Research Institute to come up with a formula, and then after that we will go for BSTI certification.
Sir, and adding to that, there has been multiple research papers written back in 2013 and 2014 that have showed the effectiveness of moringa seed crushing and using it for water filtration. There has been papers already written back in 2014, which is 6 to 7 years before now. And at this current time, India is already on the verge of making something like that. So we have no doubts about the potential of this, and the efficiency of this could actually also be increased. When we mix it with PAC, polyaluminum chloride. At that time, the effectiveness becomes even more, and at that time, the purification rate will be higher, and we believe that would be enough to actually verify our product for.
Moving on to my second question, what is the size of the market for this right now? How many people, or what is the size of the industry in purchasing sachets for water purification, and what is the price of the substitutes available today?
Sir, we have looked at the price of our products and seen the size of the market. Sir, we have mentioned about our target markets, and however it is important to identify and differentiate about general water filtration and application-based water purification. This is a point of sales application-based kind of a product, and the market size for that is over $20 billion. To put this into perspective, there is a high export market for such a product in the tourism and adventure travel industry, where people are pursuing the demand for application-based water purificants. If we look at other countries, developing countries, where the access to clean drinking water is limited, we are seeing developing countries in Africa, the demand for these products are extremely high. So the export potential of our product is absolutely high as well. In our pilot plan, in order to make it absolutely feasible, we focused on the local aspect of it while identifying the international demand for it. And the size of our market is very, very large.
Okay. And my final question is, one of the key elements for you to be able to provide Aquamori at a low price is the subsidy it gets from the leaf that you sell to others, such as Khas Foods and Neo Farmers. So the only thing that I would ask is, if you are harvesting the leaves at that particular frequency, how are you ensuring the output of the seeds? The leaves are the source through which nutrients, the energy of the plant is made. Where do you strike that balance?
Sir, so basically, as we have shown previously in our cultivation plan, the rate at which the leaves are growing, seeds grow once a year. So we will take adequate workshop classes and provide the farmers with the right kind of raw materials like fertilizers. So with the workshop classes, the farmers will actually be able to know exactly when to cultivate it, exactly when to put fertilizers and maintenance. So with that, we will put a focus on seed growing. At that time, the farmers will also know that exactly what to do to ensure that we have a higher amount of seed output.
If I may add to that, the demand of our product in the B2B end is very seasonal as well, because the disaster relief agencies that we are partnering with have extreme demand for such products that they usually source through government tenders at different specific times of the year. And in our plan, we have shown us how we're going to cultivate the seeds in a particular time of the month so that we're ready for rollout just in time to meet those increases in demand. However, we have also shown the cultivation plan and are working with an sufficient amount of farmers that throughout the year we can ensure the supply of a product, because at the end of the day, Aquamory as a grounded powdered seed product is non-perishable. It has high length of life. As a result, we can even look at options like storage and other facilities in order to ensure year-round supply of our product, even though leaves is the most harvestable portion of our plant.
Thank you very much.
What an exciting presentation. Thank you, Team Time Travelers. Up next is Team Vanguard, a trio from Bangladesh University of professionals who pride themselves on crafting the perfect idea. Let's see whether they can execute their idea to the best of their abilities. Good luck, guys.
Sujog, or opportunity. What does this term mean to you? To us, it means having equal access to resources and learning skill despite the economic status that we belong to. Bangladesh is a land of opportunity, home to millions of people, among which 30 million people belong to the marginalized community. 95% of these people are now unemployed. The predicament here is so extensive that Pledge Foundation, a government development organization, decided to roll a project, Enhance Learning and Skill Development for a Marginalized Group. And as a partner organization to Pledge Foundation, it is our objective to ensure that this project is rolled out as a successful one. And after determining the 5 identified marginal target groups, we know that it is effective and feasible to identifying the following 2: slum dwellers and women day laborers. And upon further analyzing their behavior, we found out that these are the people who take the uncomfortable step of leaving their home with the active drive to make a change, to finding job. But in the end, they struggle to make their ends meet by doing odd jobs. Now the question remains, are they not aware of the formal employment opportunities? The answer to that is yes. They are. But where do these opportunities lie? And in the search of such opportunities, we, Team Vanguard, spoke to 17 different employers around the country. And we found out that these are the people in labor-oriented organizations who migrate most often. Therefore, there always is a complete scarcity for workers in this organization. And employees here have to conduct monthly recruitment. And this recruitment process is often varied, starting from floor-to-floor miking to hiring from the crowd. And this is then followed by a training probation period before the operation can start. And all of this incurs a lot of resources for the organization, has a long learning curve before the employability can begin. Now the question remains that despite the growing opportunity in the employer end, why can't marginalized community still avail this opportunity? One, there's the enrollment cost of investing in this training center. Second, the opportunity cost of enrolling in a training center is the salary or wage they could have otherwise earned through an odd job. And third, but most importantly, there is no direct market linkage model from the training centers to the employment opportunities. Now, the existing initiatives, although they are quite well established, they are falling short in meeting the increased need of employability of the marginalized community. Therefore, there exists a gap between the marginalized community and the employers. And our solution is lessening just that by giving the workers an end-to-end development and skill placement, and for the employers, a total HR solution. Now, our platform name is NEOG. And NEOG primarily stands upon three different pillars. First, the skill development. Second, the certification. And third, the lifelong membership through the continuity program. Now, when we look at skill development, this is where we are trying to do demographic demand assessment of the employers and in design skills based upon them. We bring trainers and facilitators on a contractual basis, and the training is then provided completely free of charge. And the marginalized community are then brought on board as learners in our platform. We have the scope for the marginalized community to upskill and multi-skill depending upon the employer local needs. And at the same time, we're profiling each learner, as you can see right here. And based on the skills that they have attained and the performance that they are doing in our training center, they are then will be scored and graded, and this grade will be in compliance with Bangladesh government industry standard, the 7-grade policy. Our next pillar is certification. Why is it important? Certification gives them an employer to see what skills they have attained and how well they have performed during our training center period. Not only that, this allows them to verify the skills and their performance, and at the same time, this creates a sense of trust in our NEOG center to give them complete HR solution. At the same time, this allows a very smooth and seamless transition from the training center to the employer end. And on that note, Nafis, would you kindly take over for the third pillar?
Thank you, Maisha. So the third pillar, which is a lifelong membership, comprises of a NEOG Shandan, which is an interactive voice response system, which is basically a toll-free number designed for the learners where they can call and enter their unique learner code, which they'll get upon admission into our center. So how does this help them and how does this work? Artificial intelligence checks against their learner profile and past training completion data and relays them with job vacancies that fits their attainment of their skills. Moreover, the database through this NEOG Shandan also recommends them further skill training required based on nearby job vacancies and also offers them different courses for further upskilling. Now, what does our model establish? Through skill development, we are providing the basic skills to these workers. Through certification, we are giving them the verification of the skills, which is important for the employers. And through lifelong membership, we are creating a platform which makes job placement more efficient for both parties, the employers and employees. Now, since the blueprint of our idea is ready, we wanted to implement this into realistic settings through our pilot phase, through which we wanted to achieve a market linkage model, provide a complete HR solution to the employers, and lastly, connect multiple stakeholders to make an inclusive and sustainable economy. So with that being said, we have selected the location of Shidirganj, Narayanganj, home to Adamji EPZ, attracting high investments and generating huge employments. And there's a high concentration of RMG factories, basically knitting, textile, and garments. And there's also a high concentration of slum dwellers in this particular area. So we dived right into the Shidirganj northern slum areas to gather insights, where we found a very important insight, that 87% of the slum dwellers in the area that we conducted our survey and research on were interested to gain skills relevant to the RMG industry. But there was a key barrier. What was the barrier? The barrier was because the nearby centers were charging a high amount of cost, which was too much for them to afford. Then we went to the opposite spectrum and talked to the employers of the region, of the RMG industries, and they told us that providing training to each worker is a must and it is government mandated. And that portion of time where they provide the training incurs both factory resources and also different costs. This presents us with a key discrepancy. While the employers are looking for employees with basic skills, the nearby training center are charging a hefty amount of money, which is too high to afford, and it is almost comprising of 40.3% of the household income of a slum dweller. This is where NEOG comes in with its two pillars, the learners and the trainers. So how do we bring in the marginalized community? We have affiliated with the Kachpur Union Porishad to gather important data on these slum dwellers, and moreover, through on-field scouting and making them understand about the importance of employability and of our platform, we bring them in our system. Next, through the trainers, we include them through MOUs, and we have talked to Nurun Nahar Knitwear, and also Russell RMG. And we have made them understand about the benefits of our platform through contractual agreements. And they have agreed to the agreement, and they also agreed to take classes on an hourly or weekly basis, and they will be remunerated for it. And training models will only be designed on the skills that are on demand. And through our insights, we have found out that the basic training required is for the sewing, the basic fundamentals of sewing, and for the sewing department, since there is a high migration in this particular department in these factories. Now let's have a look.
Opportunities are often prevalent in this bustling city, but when we delve further away from our locality, we find key communities striving every day simply to make their ends meet. Here, the people are tireless and hardworking, and often lost in the stride of struggle are their dreams to prosper with proper livelihood. The dream, although defeated, continues to dwell in their heart, awaiting the right opportunity to bloom. And to give these people a glimpse of their aspirations coming alive, we, Team Vanguard, conducted a social experiment with our platform, NEOC Training Center. On our activation day, we planted a Shopner Karkhana in our prime location. Amidst a slum area, the dream box attracted a lot of attention, whilst inside the box waiting for them was a photographer, who asked them the simple question, "What would your dream employment be?" Having no idea what to expect further, they entered the Shopner Karkhana to have their photos taken. As more people joined us, the flow of events progressed organically as they took a walk along the pathway to NEOC Jawad. The red carpet journey was landmarked with the inception of a dream to access the right opportunity with NEOC by their side. We were able to bring a huge gathering in the day. Our heartiest approach convinced the slum dwellers to anticipate something extraordinary to happen in front of their eyes. And it did. Arranged in collaboration with Kachpur Union Boishop, the NEOC song captivated the heart of the masses, and the simple concept of training for direct job placement made their dream a tangible reality. With the day coming to an end, we gave them the last element of surprise. The photos of them that we took earlier were designed and placed in their dream employment setting with our Shopner Aina, a reflection of what their future can be. We've won the heart of the Abashan dwellers by taking certain moments out of their lives to make them realize how their dreams would look like if made alive with NEOC by their side. And with that, we not only tried to create an execution, but also tried to transform the ambition of making a more inclusive and developed Bangladesh a reality.
So this was our little effort for bringing our idea into reality, and we had onboarded 128 people in our NEOC center. So we need a marketing communication strategy to properly target the audience. So affiliating with Union Boishop Center ensures horizontal awareness for multiple stakeholders, and catchy jingles like the one in our AV will also reinforce that. As for the fact for further awareness, strategic poster placements in key locations and interactive information booths in key hut bazaars will also attract attention and raise awareness. Now, this basically ticks all the boxes of our triple win model. So where do we go from here? Through our pilot phase, it is limited and in operations, and we target a handful of employers, and then through beta launch, where we test our concept, we establish a market linkage model on employer demand basis. As for the picture of success, in the coming years, NEOC will be implemented in different booming localities of Bangladesh, and with that, Abrar will explain the impact and expansion.
Thank you, Furi. So, to achieve the picture of success, we will be following this expansion metric, depending on which we will decide the next area to expand to. So there are three components in this matrix. First of all, the growth rate of industries in the area and the high concentration of people living under the lower than the poverty line. And also collaborative effort to convert the unskilled population of this area to skilled worker and place them into jobs. So using this matrix, we will be expanding into these regions of Bangladesh with a common justification that these are the prime locations for the future commercialization. So in the first year, we are piloting it in Narayanganj. In the next 2 years, we are launching the beta program in Khulna and Rangpur. And in the next the fifth year, we are expanding to Rajshahi and Chattogram, which are hub for multiple industries. And by that, we are catering the need for skilled workforce in the multiple industries and maximizing the business merit of our model. So now let's have a look at our investment analysis and breakdown. So as for the cost for the first year, it is going to be 5.1 million taka, and using the cost recovery model, we are going to hit the payback period within 1.98 years, and our SROI will stand at 117.14 taka. So now why our model will work? Our model will work because we are going to partner with the government and private key entities who will help us in the course modulation and help us with the ground researches and facilitate our training programs. And our project also aligns with the Vision 2041 of Bangladesh and these three goals of it. And this benefits the government by creating a sustainable skill set for the small and medium industries and establishing government and stakeholder effort. With that, Maisha, please continue.
Thank you, Abrar. Our plan is also in line with SDG 1, 8, and 11. And these are the following KPIs that will ensure that our project is a successful one. Now, throughout our presentation, we've talked about opportunities and how prevalent it is in a country like Bangladesh. For with the marginalized community, it is important that we give them access to the right opportunity. And for that, we need NIOG. Imagine the three of us together could impact and onboard 126 people. But with right entities, we can make such a big change. So for that, we'd like to end saying Niyog Mane Sujog. Thank you so much for having us.
Hi, let me start with a simple question. Thank you for your presentation. My question is that in this area, there are a lot of NGOs who are already working, okay, and working with the government on this, and they are partnering with the government on this. You do have a big plan on training a lot of these people. And also you have shown that you have partnered with an organization who will give you the trainers, if I'm not mistaken. So my question is, you will need a training organization to partner with you because it has to be throughout Bangladesh, right? So I see a big disconnect between your plan and how you're going to roll out. It's not going to be easy. If it is only a city or a slum area in Dhaka, that's one thing. But I understand that it is going to be a big project which will touch throughout Bangladesh. So because the other NGOs are also working in this, how do you differentiate yourself from them?
First of all, thank you, ma'am, for your question. So I'd like to answer that in a way that all the initiatives that are currently taken in our country, if you look at BRAC or ACIP, they are, although well established, there is the problem that the marginalized community need for proper employment is far greater than their problem for training. As you see, they don't understand that they need to be skilled for the employment opportunity. And right now, if we take a look at BRAC, they're offering entrepreneurial incubation. Or if we take a looking at ACIP, which is a government initiative, they are basically rolling these projects in bigger RMGs or factories. However, the ones that are suffering are the small to medium factories who do not have proper training center, and they really want to bring on board the skilled workers. Now, when we're going for the slum dwellers or the women day laborers, they need to understand for them to reach to the point of employability, they need that skill. And that skill can be provided by an external party, which is NIOG. And at the same time, we're giving an HR solution for the small to medium industries and companies. And another point I might want to add to that is that although we are looking at national expansion, but the initial state, we are piloting the project. And upon the successful rollout of that one, we would move down to beta and national expansion. Thank you, ma'am.
Hi, I just want to ask a few questions to better understand your commercial model. Basic questions. So first of all, how are you earning the money? Who are you charging, the employers or the trainees?
Sir, in our model, there are primarily key stakeholders, that is the marginalized community on one end and the employers on the other end. Because we understand this gap is interconnecting both of them. And once we can, train them and at the same time employ them in the rightful organization, that is how the problem can be resolved.
No, social problem I understand. I'm saying, how is your company earning money to run its expenditures?
Yes, sir. So we are following the cost recovery model in our pilot project. That is in the first and second year, after a buffer of 3 months of their employability, we earn back all the investment that they have made in our pilot in the 1.9 year through cutting 8 and 10% respectively of the employers that we have trained and placed in job placement. But in the future, when we have established our project, we also intend on charging a commission fee on the employer end, because we are in the end giving them an employer HR solution with skilled workers that they would have otherwise hired from a third party or other means.
Understood. So initially you'll be charging the candidates, and later on, at some point in time, you may be charging the employers as well, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next question. You identified 2,500 taka as a barrier because other training centers who charge 2,500, there is an opportunity cost of people enrolled there as well, right?
Yes, sir.
How big a burden is 2,500 taka to someone who is going to earn a living from that trade?
Sir, if I may answer that, thank you for the question. So, sir, when I basically went on to research into Shidirganj slum, first I asked them, both male and female alike, that what is your job or what are you doing? Then the males, they mainly replied that they work in different odd kind of jobs, like they're selling different groceries in small hut bazaars. And for the women, either they're not doing anything or looking after their husband's business, or they're working as women day laborers in different households. So then I asked them that, why don't you go into formal employment through a formal training center? So they told us that the training centers in their area in Shidirganj, they're charging an average amount of 2,500 taka, but that's not the end of it. You'll also need a trade license to get enrolled in these centers, which is a very big barrier for someone whose household income is on average BDT 6,500. Because, sir, when I asked, especially the women, when I asked them that how much do you earn if you earn as a woman day laborer, they told that they only earn 2,000 taka if they work in a single household, 4,000 if they work in two, and it goes up to a maximum of 8,000 only, and they'll have to run their family with that. And for which it is a very big opportunity cost, because if you enroll yourself in a training center with this amount of money, in that period of time, you could have earned it through something else or through some other means. For which, sir, it is a very big burden on their part to get enrolled in these training centers with a higher enrollment cost.
And if I could add just one thing to that, enrolling in this training center do not give them direct employment. So that add as a major worry in their head. Why should I invest in this training center? Because I have no guarantee that would necessarily give me a job, which is not the case for our NEOG model.
I understand. So how much are you guys planning to charge to the people coming to your training?
Sir, this varies differently from the demographic demand of the skill. In Shidirganj, we were particularly looking into RMG and the sewing skills. So this would depend on, this would be completely free on the initial basis, but when they want to upskill or multi-skill, let's say they have already gone through a job placement and they want to upskill to different skills, they would come back to our center, and at that point we would be charging them a basic premium. But that would be still less than the average that they normally would have paid in the training centers that are currently existing.
Okay. So essentially, let's take Shidirganj as an example, where others are charging 2,500 taka, and then there is another up to 8,000 taka of opportunity cost if people enroll. You'll be giving that training for free. And if and when they come back for upskilling, which can be 5 years down the line, which can be 10 years down the line, that's when you'll charge the premium upgrading fee, right?
Yes, sir. The novelty of our idea kind of stands on the point that initially we are not charging them for the training. However, we are recovering that cost through the cost recovery model once they are placed in job placement. And if they want to upskill or multi-skill, as you said just now, that is when we will charge a premium, and at the same time charge the employers for commission for giving them their employee solution.
Okay. Another question, your USP versus standard employers is the fact that you get into an MOU, which in turn you can promise as a guaranteed employment to everyone who's gone through the training, right? That's your USP versus others in market.
Yes, along with the fact that we are demographically assessing the demand. So if we, let's say, move into Shidhirganj, and that is an area where the RNG is prevalent, we would be giving the necessary skill for those employers. So there is absolutely no chance that they would miss the scope of employability in that, if they're living in that area. So we're also localizing the demand.
If I'd like to add just one thing to that, when the factories, they take in workers, they recruit the workers. So let's give an example of crowd hiring. The workers, they gather at the gates. And then someone from inside the factory, they come outside and they just tell that I need a worker of this particular skill. Okay, then they take them in and then they take an interview and put them in front of a machine or an instrument, and then they test whether they're actually skilled or not. And through this, they're further screened and then finally in operations. And before going into operations, they are first trained and then put into a probation period. So we are actually reducing that time and also making it more beneficial and easier for the employers. And also for the employees, because we are ensuring that they are trained and they have more guarantee of getting placed in jobs.
To add to that, the recruitment process is quite varied, and there is no guarantee that you would be getting the right skill set of worker standing on your gate or from floor to floor miking. That's why they truly do need a constant solution, HR solution for their end, and which is what we are providing for the employers. That is one more USP, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Team Vanguard, for a spectacular performance. Finally, representing North-South University, we have Team Undisputed, who brings their uplifted spirit and keen observation to give other finalists a tough fight for the championship trophy. Come up and show us what you've got.
Assalamu alaikum, honorable judges. The bottle that you see in front of you represents the current market of Bangladesh, the current market which is unaware of the incredible nutritious benefits of moringa. The water inside the bottle represents two of our key stakeholders and their constraints: the farmers in having a better lifestyle, the consumers in having a healthier lifestyle. Now the question is, if we could open the cap to new possibilities and increase and augment their lifestyle, what would happen? We would have two stable flows of augmenting the lifestyle of our stakeholders. That is exactly what we're doing with our social business plan for Ujjibon and Hope Foundation.
Hello and Assalamu alaikum, honorable judges. We believe that in order to reimagine tomorrow, we need to redefine today. We are Team Undisputed. I am Rafidillahi Chaudhuri.
I am Mohammad Shihabu Zaman. And I am Saqib Khondokar.
With the challenge of reimagining moringa cultivation in Bangladesh, we decided to create a sustainable business plan to help out farmers like Shajna Siraj. And Shajna Siraj has been jumping from one business to another until a miracle happened. But what exactly did we do to augment farmers' sustainability to help out farmers like Shajna Siraj? We got into an interview with the Chief Scientific Officer of Bangladesh Agricultural Research Institute, and he informed us about the harvesting potential, about the MOMX3 and PKM1 seeds. Utilizing that information, we targeted the commercially favorable areas with the help of Department of Agricultural Extension, and in collaboration with BRAC, Grameen Bank and Proshika, we gave technical training to the farmers. Also, we collaborated with UNICEF to support the farmers' children's education. If you look at the right side of the slide, you can see that we have a plan even for the cattle farmers in Bangladesh. We also collaborated with USAID and WaterAid for water purification and crop cycle techniques. Throughout the entire crop to consumer model, you can see that from planting to the sales point of Hope Foundation, we created a sustainable plan for the farmers. But that brings us to the big question: what about the consumers?
Moringa itself can cure more than 300 diseases. But the question is, are our consumers aware of the health benefit of Moringa? Or do we have the market ready for Moringa product in Bangladesh? The main problem is the consumers are not aware of the main product, that is Moringa cultivations and its health benefit, which leads to lack of market readiness, and ultimately we have low market demand. So how we are going to solve this problem? We are going to aware our consumers with the health benefit of Moringa by creating IMC campaigns which will ignite the interest, and that will have a desire on them to buy Moringa products. So, ladies and gentlemen, our brand Ujjibon, Matun Jiboner Uchhase. So we did a VRIO analysis through which we have tested the feasibility of our product, that is moringa powder and moringa oil, where we have seen within a least resource allocations and short span of time, we can start the business. We have selected Ujjibon moringa leaf and Ujjibon essential oil because of low cost feasibilities and high market demand and high usage potential. Now, the question is, what is the importance of moringa essential oil and moringa powder? We are going to use essential oil as skincare and hair care additive. On the other hand, we will use the moringa powder as a supplement, or we can consume it as a dry, or we can add it with beverages. For a sustainable business, we need sustainable pricing. That's why we have catered our pricing with competitive pricing. But why competitive pricing? Because we have the competitive advantage of crop to consumer model that will scale up our resources of economics and cut down the market price. In the target group, we have primarily targeted the parents, new mothers, and the young professionals, and that caters to the section, social class section of B. And in the secondary target market, we have catered with the vendors or the B2B sellers, young professionals, and the micro entrepreneurs, which caters to the social class A and B. The big pilot idea, Sajna Shebon, Shusto Jibon. Through this campaign, we want to create the awareness among the consumers and the customers so that they understand the nutritional value of moringa, which will give them a better, healthier, and sustainable health benefit.
For the pilot, our purpose was threefold: create a stable market demand, create a stable consumer base by creating awareness in the target market group. For the pilot project, we initially targeted 3 specific segments of our target market. First, the health-conscious adults. Second, the new mothers. And third, the fitness enthusiasts, with a few collaborations, the details of which you'll find in just a few minutes. Moving on to our pilot goal. Our pilot goal was simple but effective, ladies and gentlemen. It was to generate sustainable market demand for moringa, creating awareness among the target market, generating a sustainable consumer base. Moving on to our COVID-protected pilot. Ladies and gentlemen, we confided and we protected the target market and the enthusiasts with proper protocols for a COVID campaign, along with a leaflet on behalf of our brand, where we educated the target market about the potential benefits of moringa. Moving on to our next slide, the activation. Let's look at our very first activation targeted to the health-conscious adults. Ladies and gentlemen, the health-conscious adults, we targeted the health-conscious adults on their regular morning walk on the location of Chandrima Uddan and Mohammadpur Park area, and we conducted an activation for 4.5 hours where we served around 140 cups of moringa lemonade to induce an interest on the target market's behalf and to educate the target market about the incredible benefits of moringa. Why? Because around 8.4 million people in Bangladesh suffer from diabetes, and this is an incredible market scope for us to penetrate the market with our products. We did the same thing for our second segment of the target market, which is the lactating mothers. New mothers in Bangladesh suffer from lactation deficiency, and we wanted to create a widespread awareness regarding this issue through our product, moringa products. And therefore, we targeted Matri Sadan Hospital in Ajimpur, where we conducted a 4.5-hour activation where we sold around 165 cups of moringa lemonade to increase awareness and retain attention of the target market to improve visibility of our brand and our moringa products. Moving on to fitness center supplements. On the B2B channel, we want to create a sustainable channel for our moringa products as soon as we enter the market through our moringa supplements made of moringa powder and essential oil, which is very much necessary for our target market, which are the fitness enthusiasts.
So we signed a 2-year contract with Fitness 365 Gym, where we will be providing this moringa products as a health supplement for the members. Here's an interesting fact. Before the activation, around 81 to 78% of the people were not aware of the nutritional benefits of moringa products, and in addition to that, they did not know about the existing moringa products in Bangladesh. However, after the activation, around 72% of the people were not only ready to consume moringa products, they're ready to now consume moringa products at least once to a few times a week. Let's take a look at a few partnerships. We will be entering a partnership with 10 Minute School, where they'll be creating a 15-episode series to their target market about how nutritional moringa can be. Why 10-minute school? Firstly, because of their enormous user base. Secondly, we want to target the parents of the students. And thirdly, we want to create future sustainable demand through the existing market. We also entered a partnership with Bangladesh Cancer Aid Trust, where we will be providing Moringa products to the members, to the more than 3 lakh members at a very discounted price. And why exactly are we doing this? Because of the goodwill of the brand. If you want to take a look at the MOU, judges, we would send a scanned copy right over to you. We also entered a partnership with the leading print dailies so that they feature branded content of Ujjivan's Moringa products in their health supplements. But the question is, how do we ensure peak touchpoint visibility? If you take a look at our Facebook page, we received enormous response and people were very interested to know about our Moringa products. So what exactly did we do? We redirected them to a website that we created where every product told a story about our farmers. Also, for digital presence, we have search banner ads, we have in-app ads, and we have content marketing to cater to our exact target market.
So, we will brand our product with the departmental stores via shelf talkers and the gandola marketing. WhatsApp Ujjivan, we will cater to the busy customers of our TG who are very busy with their lives. They can just buy Ujjivan product just by saying hello. Our brand influencers are Dr. Jahangir Kobir and Dr. Tamanna Chaudhuri, who have around 2.5 million Facebook and YouTube users that can increase the brand visibility of Ujjivan to our target market. So we are going to also sell B2B selling to cash food, neo farmers, and we can provide them processed leaf and powder, and most importantly, oil. That will be a cash machine for Ujjivan and Hope Foundation. We have 5 key success criteria. If we can fulfill them, we will increase our product, future product portfolio, which is consist of, number 1, in first year, we are going to increase the volume of growth in units, and in second year, we are going to increase the sales growth. In the third year, we are going to increase the terminal growth to 7.5%, and ultimately, we are going to collaborate with the stakeholders that will align with our SDGs, our incredible team ideas that comes with the consumer product, that is consumer care line, food and nutritional line, and the personal hygiene line, where you can see the future right here in this place. We can see the oil skin lotion for Moringa. Moving on, we are aligning our SDGs idea with 1, 3, 8, 9, 13, and 17 that will directly align with SDG goals. So the long-term plan, we have 2 simple but impactful long-term plan in our hand. We will integrate Moringa cultivations in agriculture in the NCTB curriculum from class 6 to class 9, where the young man will know about the Moringa cultivation and its health benefit. We have GI for jute, hilsha, and jamdani, but why not GI for Moringa? With the assistance of Hope Foundations, this will help us to increase the global market demand and uphold the flag of Bangladesh with the assistance of Hope Foundation and Ujjivan.
Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, to our execution plan. We will keep it very short. Our execution plan is mostly defined by our growth phase, which will target from year 3 to year 5, and ultimately we will reach a stabilization phase in year 6. Moving on to our financials. If you look at our financials, we have to remember that we are a sustainable business, not a profitable one. So we will reach an ROI in 6 years of 19.63%, and our positive cash flow will start from year 3, and we will reach a break-even by year 10 with a terminal growth rate of 7.5%. If you look at our estimated sales by year 6, we have around 40 crore of worth of products that we will sell by year 6. Moving on to our export opportunities. Our key success driver is increasing the awareness of Moringa products, which will enable us to tap into this incredible opportunities of exporting our products that you see in the screen. Moving on to our centrality distinctiveness map. Ladies and gentlemen, currently we are an unconventional product-based brand, but in the future, we want to be an aspirational brand. Moving on to our key stakeholders. As part of our plan and strategies, we believe that we've kept our stakeholders such as governments and NGOs satisfied through incentivizing the farmers and creating a sustainable crop-to-consumer model. And through our sustainable... Can we have an extent? And our key stakeholders, farmers and consumers, have been kept safe. Our plan on a page is provided on the screen, where we've created 3 specific channels, B2B, B2C, and partners, where we will create a sustainable business model for our needs. And with that, we want to leave a mark, ladies and gentlemen, which we believe we did. We established a goodwill for the brand, for a better tomorrow. We have a sustainable revenue model, and we've strengthened stakeholder relationships. And on an end note, we want to end with one simple song for all of you. 300 রোগের আছে সমাধান যদি করি সাজনা সেবন সুস্থ জীবন করি বরণ চলে এলো উজ্জীবন উজ্জীবন মাতুন জীবনের উচ্ছ্বাসে
Thank you, everyone.
Hello, Shihab, Rafid. Yes, right. Let's give everything we have.
Where?
The undisputed pilot.
মিনিট স্কুল থেকে আমরা উজ্জীবনের সাথে পার্টনার আপ করে একটা 15টি পর্বের সিরিজ তৈরি করছি, যেখানে আমরা জানাবো এই সাজনার তেল এবং পাউডার কিভাবে আমাদের শরীরের জন্য উপকারী এবং আমাদের যে টার্গেট অডিয়েন্স বা বাচ্চারা আছে তাদের বাবা মার জন্য এটা কতটা উপকারী।
উজ্জীবনের সাজনা পাতার গুঁড়ার এত নিউট্রিশনাল ভ্যালু আছে এটা আগে জানতামই না। আমরা ফিটনেস 365 জিম থেকে এটা এখন ট্রাই করব, আশা করি আপনারাও সবাই ট্রাই করবেন।
Ladies and gentlemen, to end, we believe in our business plan. We hope you do too.
Thank you, Team Undisputed, for your spirited presentation and very interesting activations that you have done as well. Can you tell me, in your overall plan, what is the impact and how do our farmers benefit from it? And just a rough cut, what changes you expect in the livelihood of farmers who are involved in this process?
Absolutely, sir. This is Akib Khondokar. We have worked in details with the farmers in the last round. So in short, how we incentivized and given the farmers an impact was through giving the farmers a sustainable and impactful lifestyle. How? By collaborating with the government and giving them incentives to start cultivating our moringa cultivation in their fields through giving them a lot of collaborative opportunities to get incentives so that the farmers get aware about the moringa products and start cultivating the products in a sustainable manner, where we're not only giving them an incentive to cultivate the products, cultivate the raw materials of moringa, but also we are giving them support programs, technical training facilities for the farmers to get incentives and to see that they have not only a monetary incentive, but also a better lifestyle opportunity by cultivating moringa instead of other crops, sir.
My question is, and let's try to be a little precise on this one and concise. Moringa is a very profitable crop. Why would there be a need for incentivizing separately? What is your model looking like, commercial model looking like?
Sir, if we go back to slide number 7, right. Sir, if you see, the question that you asked us is how are we impacting the farmers' lives and why would the farmers need to have the need to cultivate moringa instead of other crops? Sir, when it comes to the crop to consumer model that we've generated for the farmers, we've not given them a conventional crop to consumer model, and we've not given them a conventional scope and opportunities and incentives for them to start. And why would they start cultivating moringa? This is a in draft plan that we've jotted down from our previous round to show you how we are ensuring their sustainability in cultivating the product that we're cultivating, the Moringa product that we're cultivating at the moment. So these are the opportunities we tapped, and these are the opportunities that we're trying to tap. This is in our appendix section. The opportunities that we're trying to tap in the market are lack of awareness amongst farmers for cultivation profitability. This is something that the farmers are not aware about even a little bit. Because, for example, Moringa can be harvested 4 times a year. That is a crucial information that the farmers do not have. 146 plants in 1 bigha per year can be planted for Moringa in a single bigha of land per year, out of which we get 4,493 kg of dried leaf powder. These are essential, profitable information that the farmers did not have. These are the information that we provided the farmers, which gave them an incentive to start collecting Moringa. And furthermore, for cattle farmers as well, farmers who are not directly related to crop cultivation, for example, a farmer who is into cattle farming, we also gave them an incentive to start to include Moringa cultivation along with their cattle farming. This is something we can show you in slide number 8. Yes. We aligned with one of government's pinnacle projects, which is Ekti Bari Ekti Khamar Prokalpo. This is something that the farmers did not know before. So the word that the essential purpose and the essential goal that we served was an impactful awareness campaign for the farmers. In this sustainable manners, we collaborated with USAID, we collaborated with WaterAid, giving them water purification techniques, crop cycling techniques, all for just one inclusion of cultivation, that is Moringa cultivation. And aligning with the Ekti Bari Ekti Khamar Prokalpo, we gave them a sustainable loop for cultivating Moringa along with the cattle farming, which gave them an incentive to start crop cultivation for Moringa.
Thank you. Okay, the question I have is, you're talking about creating drinks, health supplements, this, that out of Moringa, and then because of the health implications, getting the wider population hooked into this. My question is, how scalable is your idea?
It is, in our opinion, sir, it is incredibly scalable. From our crop to consumer model, if we, the products that we introduced, we could have introduced a lot of products, but we did an analysis of the scalability of our products, national and international. And we found out that specifically Moringa leaf powder and Moringa essential oil are the 2 products that we can, as a social business, we can penetrate the market with. So when it comes to scalability, we think that the products that we launched and the target market that we cater to and targeted specifically, these segments of target market have an incredible scope for us to penetrate, simply because Bangladesh market hasn't had any herbal product, let alone a Moringa-based brand, coming up to them and telling them that one single product, one single plant can cure more than 300 diseases. So when it comes to especially the current times, we're in an era of a pandemic. So we, as health conscious citizens, we are already aware about our health and about our hygiene. And in this time, if we introduce a Moringa-based brand where we have specifically powder and specifically oil-based products, which can be used in a multifarious way, we think that the target market is...
I understand. It's a specific question.
Yes.
The specific question, and the answer to that is actually, what factors have you considered in determining that this is scalable? So A, it is COVID time, that's what you said. And B is, this is the only one curing 300 something.
Yes, sir.
Diseases, right? These are the 2 factors.
Yes. These are not the only 2 factors. If you go to key success criteria, number 1, volume growth. Number 2, sales growth. Number 3, our SDG impact through our brand. Number 4, our increased collaboration with the partners. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
I have not asked for your success criteria.
Yes.
The question was, and this is a serious question.
Yes.
Because organizations who are into herbal products are not getting their consumer base beyond 2,000-3,000.
Yes.
After 3-4 years of effort. My question is, what gives you the confidence that this is scalable? Now, if it is based on a particular targeting segment size or something,
yes,
fine. If not, you are banking on COVID creating higher health awareness and the quality of your product. That's the answer, right?
No, sir.
You didn't base it on any consumer dynamics, right?
Sir, could you state the last sentence one more time? I missed that.
Did you base it on any consumer dynamics, any particular data, which makes your idea scalable?
Absolutely, sir.
May I add something to that, sir? Sir, while conducting the survey, we were asking the consumers how much potential demand there would be for the existing products. So that was also a criteria based on which we kind of prepared the scalability plan. Does that answer your question, sir?
Yeah, last question. What is your competitive advantage against our current organic product selling firms? Let's say neo farmers.
Sir, in one word,
why are you planning to get a lot more success in becoming mass versus them?
Thank you for the question, sir. The first answer to that question is the collaborative strategies that we've come up with. No other company or no other brand currently in the market have implemented the strategies that we've presented in our business plan pitch deck. For example, BANCAT is a foundation which caters to more than 3 lakh members, cancer survivors in the country. And this is a specific target market for us, which gives us an incredible market base just at the get-go of our penetrating the market, where we have a B2B channel selling our Moringa products, the essential oil and our leaf powder, at one step go through the BANCAT channel. On the other hand, when it comes to the competitive advantage in our cultivation and in our crop-to-consumer model, incentivizing the farmers with the collaboration of government, we have created a sustainable crop-to-consumer model which enables us to bulk produce our products. For example, we will start with around, which will give us a stable bulk production base, which will allow us to reach an economies of scale, which will allow us to reduce our market price, which will give us a big penetration opportunity at a cut-down rate.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think that's it from us, the judges, in terms of the questions. Team Undisputed, thank you for your activation, your presentation. Best of luck. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, everyone, for this incredible opportunity. Thank you, everyone.
Assalamu alaikum.
We've heard some amazing pitches from our 6 finalist teams. Our judges are now calibrating the results. And I'm sure they're not having an easy time trying to decide who the champion title will go to this year.
While the fates of our finalists are being decided as we speak, let's connect with our honorable chief guest for today's event and hear what he has to say for all of us today. Connecting virtually is Honorable Minister Dr. A.K. Abdul Momen MP, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Government of People's Republic of Bangladesh.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. I welcome everyone who has joined with us for the final round of Battle of Minds 2020. I am very happy to be present here on this occasion and would like to congratulate all the finalists who have presented their innovative solutions for the 2 cases that were given to them. Battle of Minds is on the 17th year this year and has been a pioneer in providing a platform for students to showcase their talents and always encourage the student to think out of the box and challenge the status quo. This is a platform that helps bridge the gap between academic life and the corporate world to create leaders for tomorrow. We are very happy that Battle of Minds is working towards enhancing employability of our country's youth, which is also one of the key priorities of the government of Bangladesh. We are blessed with a vibrant young population who can play an enormous role in the economic growth of our country. We must make the best use of this resource that we have at hand and ensure that the demographic dividend of a young population is achieved. For that to happen, organizations such as yours must work alongside the government to ensure our youth is equipped with the right skills and knowledge to take our country into the future. Reimagine Tomorrow is the theme of this year's Battle of Minds, and I absolutely agree that it is the youth of today who will determine and write the future of our country. We only have to ensure they have the right platforms to flourish. I personally believe that it is creativity, it is innovation, competition, competitiveness, motivation and networking that are the engine of growth, and that these can lead you to excel in life and living. I wish all the finalists as well as the competitors of the Battle of Minds 2020 all the very best. Thank you. Thank you very much for your time. Joy Bangla, Joy Bangabandhu.
Thank you, sir. I'm sure the pressure is intensifying for our finalists. We're so close to finding out who the champions of Battle of Minds 2020 will be. Just a few moments left till we announce the winners.
But before we go to that segment, let's quickly take a look at the essence of the legacy of Battle of Minds and how in this year, the whole team as a contingent embodied the same signature fellowship shared by generations of Battle of Minds alumni.
The time is now, your future is here. Join the league and reach out higher. The time is now to break on through. Feel your heart and feel the fire. The time is now, your future is here. Join the league and reach out higher. The time is now to break on through. Feel your heart and feel the fire. It's everlasting, our legacy. Unbreakable, unbreakable camaraderie. Take the world by storm, pass the spirit on. You're a burning flame, it's time to change the game. Take the world by storm, pass the spirit on. You're a burning flame, it's time to change the game. You won't break, no you won't fall. Claim the glory, you're invincible. You won't break, no you won't fall. Claim the glory, you're invincible. It's everlasting, our legacy. Unbreakable, unbreakable camaraderie. Take the world by storm, pass the spirit on. You're a burning flame, it's time to change the game. Take the world by storm, pass the spirit on. You're a burning flame, it's time to change the game. Take the world by storm, pass the spirit on. You're a burning flame, it's time to change the game. Take the world by storm, pass the spirit on. You're a burning flame, it's time to change the game. You're a burning flame, it's time you owned again.